Hello, Greg, and welcome to another of my videos. This time I'm doing something a little different. I am already going to tell you that the Terran won. Because I'm going to try and do a bit of a constructive criticism thing here. So, this guy lost. This guy won. And Osiris, well, he was on the Brood War subreddit. So, wanting to, he's a Starcraft 2 player and he wanted feedback. So, there we are. I'm going to do this. I'm going to say that I'm going to focus on the very, very basics, because I'm not a Terran player, I'm a Zerg player, and not the best one at that. So if I say some minor things wrong, don't hurt me, okay? See, for instance, minor thing, this is the stupidest first thing I saw. You could have already queued up that SCV. You could have just been slamming S, and already did that. So, minor mistake, you've lost the flash already. So, but... yeah, that's the level of analysis that's going to go. See, now you do it. Now you do it. There you go. Really, that one should have been a supply depot already. Because now you've queued up those 50 minerals when really you're placing it at 9. Well, 9 supply is apparently... I'm looking at the build order right here because I think you've done that build order. Right? Supply depot at 9 could have been faster. Because already you're trailing behind a little bit. Yeah? So see, that's 100. So at 11, so I'm looking at +1 racks right now. Okay, so now you've supply blocked yourself because that supply depot should have been sooner. You see, so already off the bat we're having a bit of a problem. Now at 11, you're supposed to scout, yeah, and build of course that barracks. Already, again, there's a little gap already. Yeah, 11 and then 15 supply depot. So we have to start building that and wait for that. But things are already delayed, but that's okay because your opponent is not doing much better. Anyway, there's the... Okay, see this... Alright, we'll see what happens with this, yeah? Refinery is going down. Normally, against Zerg, unless you're doing something special, maybe mech, you don't want that refinery there yet. But okay, so we have the scout a little late. Yeah, but that's fine. Now, I'm comparing this to what I see. Now, the thing is, build orders, yeah, are not important if you get a result, okay? So now you have the gas. Okay, you're going with gas, so we're going off the rails. You're doing the scout as well, a little late, because you kind of want to know, especially against Zerg, you want to know what they're doing. Because right now, your barracks is done, it's a little late. You're going straight for another supply depot, because you're already, but that should have been there already. Yeah, you had the minerals in the bank. You have to anticipate the supply depot a little bit more. You've stopped mining gas at 150. So this is where the factory comes out. So he's got the links, right? This is starting to be dangerous. So you've done, but you're not doing anything with the gas. You've gone over. You're going for that 19. So let's say that was supposed to be the 18 cc. Right now you're busy microing the SCV, but this takes priority, okay? That delay wasn't too bad. You see, what do you see? He stopped gas production. That's alarm bells right there. Either he's an idiot, or he's doing something special. He's actually not scouted you at all, so he's sending these Zerglings to the wrong place. Right now, you have 2 Marines and an SCV. You would have been dead if those Zerglings would have gone to the right place. Meanwhile, we're not mining gas, we're at 22, we have 150 gas not spent. If you take the refinery early, use it. Otherwise, don't, and, go the more... The tactic is to indeed mine gas and take it off, right? But that's for the engineering bay, yeah! To use the gas for the engineering bay for the +1 attack. He's actually gone back with the Zerglings and attacked your Zergling. He could have murdered you and destroyed your CC. You would have already lost here. Okay, because right now you're building your second barracks, but far too late. Because that second barracks should have been, I'm checking here, right after, well, yeah, there's a lot of things going on here. So you should have continuously pumped. You've already, yeah, you've started now. So he's building a sunken colony, which is a little weird. You decided to stay at home, which is wrong. Because after the initial pressure, you need to pressure the Zerg. Because now he's building that sunken colony, but could have actually gotten away with not doing that. Anyway, again, I'm being harsh, but I'm just stating everything, every little thing. There's a billion things in Brood War, right? The Academy is good, +1 attack is good. Now you've restarted the gas, right? And that should have been where the Academy was and everything. And now the 4 additional barracks need to be built right now. You're going to get that free Overlord, which is, again, your opponent to his... He's not my Zerg. But anyway. Yeah, this is where the barracks should come in. That gas is required for then your Marines, your medics, your factory, and then starport, and depending on what you want to go, either tanks or SK. I wouldn't recommend SK right now, as it can be a little scary in terms of micromanagement. Also, that second gas, you know, this is the point where you're doing the build one step behind with already pieces missing. This is where the build order falls apart. Now you're building the barracks, but you already have 300 in the bank and not producing any Marines, you see. So right now, our darling friend here, who's way behind because he's having his own little crisis, he's going for that spire and waiting. Yeah? He's going 2 hatch, which should have probably been 3 hatch considering he has 600 in the bank. So he probably should have done that, and also more drones, and I understand completely. He's now sending out a drone probably to do that. Meanwhile, you're catching up now a little bit. You know, the build orders gaps are being filled in. You've got your stim where the gas should have been spent much earlier. You've got more supply depots because, well, you're doing all right there. And you're doing, yeah, you're building SEV, so that's good. Again, too many gaps. You've got 3 Marines that could be building. 4 Marines that could be building, you know. So, but that's fine. Now you're building it. So you are doing that +1 racks thing. Yeah? You have, well, the +1 should have already been done because that eBay should have been done by the time your refinery was at 100. Yeah, your gas was 100. You're already building the missile turrets because you did scout something, probably. You did scan something, and you know Mutalisks are going to come. You are going to see some 6 Mutalisks. He doesn't have his second gas yet, even. So he is going for that third. I'm going to unreveal this. So he has got that third. So the kind of 2 base, kind of, you know, his build is already falling apart as well. Right. So now the choice is, what am I going to supplement this with? There's no factory, right? You've got 600 gas in the bank, which is something that all Terran players will be screaming at. You've got your range. Your +1 is now finally done. Immediately start on the armor order. Yeah, there you go. That's good. All right. So now you've been staring down each other because you have not done any sort of pressure. Yeah? Thing is, if you don't go for a factory, it's sometimes difficult. But 3 sunken colonies, not that very scary if you engage correctly. You've got your +1 now. These guys should be on the map. Thing is, though, then you get... Because he should have been pressuring with Zerglings. Again, you should have been dead. Because those first initial Zerglings, in the situation you had without a bunker and not enough Marines, they would have ripped you to shreds. They would have at least delayed the command center and done a lot of damage. But he chose not to because he scouted the wrong base and then decided to just go home to kill a fucking SEV. Right? So now you're going to push out at 8 minutes. A little late. But alright, you're moving. This is where this guy should have been the happiest motherfucker on the planet. He doesn't have enough Mutalisks, of course. But this is a very dangerous time because he can now take his pick. You've got the turrets, so you've already invested in turrets, you know, for him. So you've anticipated him, sort of. But okay, fine. You're going to go for that. There are no lurkers here, even though he's now building the Hydra Den and Evolution Chamber and everything as you should have had. But all right. So you're moving in here. You don't have any idea, do you? What the situation here is, probably. A scan would be nice. You have 2. You have high energy. You should have really just gone for this expansion and killed it before it ever lived. You had to anticipate that. There's only 3 sunken colonies, badly spaced out. So I don't think even this one would be in the fight at the start if you engage these. So a good stim, and this would have been gone. Okay. So the Mutalisks, of course, are going to make this difficult, probably. You've got some fire bats here as well, because I must say that's it. 2 medics is far too few. Yeah, far too few. And now you need to do something because, let's face it, at this point he should have had lurkers and you would have been fucked. Because you need something. You need the tanks or the science vessels, something. even though you've got enough scans. I don't know why you're going here. You are Terran, you have scans. Why would you go there? This is an immense amount of time lost, and really, this army should have been eaten up somehow. But the Zerg is very passive. He's got, at this point, a little more than half your supply. Well, there's 20 difference, which, you know. All right. But meanwhile, in the base, you're doing... Now your macro is sort of starting to look like what a regular human being would look like, except your factory is not using anything. You're going for the starboard. Okay, fine. But you're now trailing 1,700. So clearly, you're not producing anything at this point because you're playing around with your army. That's fine. But now well, yeah, there you go. There should already been a second group here. This should never stop. This should never stop because you're going for barracks that produce tiny little units, and it's very difficult to get your deficit up. Now you're going to move in a trail, right? Really, you should have grouped up 1, 2, moved in together. No, you moved in a large group, which is a lurker's fucking dream, but there are no lurkers here, so fine. He's deciding not to micro his mutalisks and instead attack your supply depots for some reason, beyond my comprehension. And there we go. You're not engaging with half your army here. Normally, there should have been something here, but there isn't because he's got all of his mutalisks there and he's happily letting them get chewed out by missile turrets. So that's another thing. You need to, of course, focus on two things because holy shit, that mutalisk threat, right? But he's an idiot, so he's not microing these. Again, with the transit of your army, those should have been chewed out by mutalisks, but they didn't. Meanwhile, you still don't have gas. You're not using your gas. You have 800. You're not using any of them. You're now finally going for the SK type of thing because you've got a science facility. Again, you need at least 2 starports, especially with deficit you have now. You need to have production, and perhaps, yeah, look towards another expansion, sure. But that second gas would have been really cool, and actually forcing yourself to use that. Is there anything else here? Well, he's just giving you the game, really. Because he didn't... After finally doing all that work, he fucked off. And, yeah. You live by the grace of your opponent, but that's low-level StarCraft, okay? The only reason we win games at low level is because our opponent was worse than us. Not because we were better than them. No, they were worse than us. You know, it's fighting against the game. So that's the thing. Now you're finally making some medics. That's kind of cool. You know, always, because now there's some medics. At the start there were far too few. But there you go. That's a little bit of a snowball thing, right? This is the kind of game I never really vid-rep because that's the thing. There's not much to say. The guy was bad. I hope he gets better. He also has the right idea, except several elements of his build were wrong. And that's how it snowballs into a catastrophe. Your macro was good in moments, but the build order fell apart real quick, and the fact that a Terran has 600 gas in the bank at the midpoint of the game is just awful. So either go tanks, start producing something that uses that gas. Yeah? So, yeah, there you go. And you can't never stop building Marines. Even if you have to stack them 2 or 3, which is a sin, but 2 at least to keep them going, to keep them going, to keep them going. Because normally, if you lose Marines, it's going to be by 6 or 7 or 12 of them in one go because of a lucky lurker or whatever, and you want to have that reserve pumped up. So there we go. So again, you didn't quite transition into the second phase of your build order because you've already won. But definitely you need those science vessels or you need those tanks or whatever you choose to go with. So yeah, there we go. It is difficult. Marine Medic is one of the more micro-intensive, apart from the fact that Zerg has to, you know, do the whole Mutalisk thing, which is even worse. But yeah, no pressure from either opponent. You just let yourself go and do whatever you wanted. So there we are. That was my little... I don't know if this is helpful, if I was saying horrible things, if I don't know what StarCraft is and I should die, you know, tell me in the comments. Jobo, you're probably watching this and going, oh my god, he should really stop talking to new people because he's going to ruin them forever. So please, do comment on that. There we go. Hope you like that, Osiris. And yeah, welcome to the game. There is a spark of hope. But yeah, it's going to be a bitch, don't worry.